If you guys want some gamer subs, make sure to use code GM for 10% off. Thanks. Yo, what's going on guys? It's G Miners here, and in this video, I'm going over a super fun Warlock ability spam build. We also have a ton of blinding capabilities with this build, which will make it much better in raids, nightfalls, and other high-level activities. This build centers around the regen we get from the Crown of Tempest, and then also uses Ionic Traces, which we will be generating every few seconds for even more ability regen. The nice part about this build is that we also get a duration benefit for our super, and Crown of Tempest also got a slight rework, which I will be going over later in the video. Everything about this build feels super fun to use, and I forgot to mention that we will also have 100% uptime on our Arc Soul, which can be given to our entire team, and then this Arc Soul should always be supercharged for us as well, because we are also getting pretty much infinite duration on the amplified buff. There is a lot of stuff going on in this build, so I'm going to break it down as simply as I can, starting with the Arc 3.0 subclass. Super-wise, this build is going to work best with Storm Trance. You can absolutely swap this for Chaos Reach, especially for something like a boss damage encounter, but with Crown of Tempests, Chaos Reach will not get the bonus duration. After that, the melee is also up to you, but I think Ball Lightning is better. Both do pretty much the same thing at the end of the day, and with this, you end up getting more range. And then I also tend to prefer Storm Nades, but Pulse is a good second option if you like that better. For our aspects, first we have Electrostatic Mind. With this, anytime we defeat enemies with arc abilities, enemies who are jolted, or enemies who are blinded, we create Ionic Traces. Collecting these will give us energy back to all abilities and will also make us amplified. And then after this, we are also using Arc Soul. Casting our Rift will give anyone who enters it an Arc Soul, and if we become amplified, our Arc Soul will then become supercharged and fire faster. So with these two alone, just by spamming abilities, we get ability energy back, and that keeps us amplified, which also makes our Arc Soul permanently supercharged as long as we keep getting kills. We have 4 fragment slots in total. First up is Spark of Beacons. This allows our final blows with arc weapons to create blinding explosions while amplified. After that is Spark of Discharge, which now also allows arc weapons to generate Ionic Traces, and then Spark of Shock, which makes our grenade jolt enemies. Even though our nades are super strong already, this jolting effect will be more Ionic Traces that we can potentially make on tankier enemies that may survive our abilities. And then lastly, I have Spark of Recharge so that we get some grenade and melee energy back when critical. Before I switch over to showcase the mods and the exotic we're using, if you guys are enjoying the content, make sure to drop a like and sub down below. Subbing is completely free, it helps me out a ton, and you can always change your mind later. Starting off with Crown of Tempest, Arc ability or Jolt final blows increase the recharge rate of arc abilities and extend the duration of Storm Trance. Super basic perk at first glance, but how strong are the effects? This ends up stacking up to 3 times when getting ability kills, each stack with linear effects. At 1 stack, we're going to get 175% increased grenade and melee regen. At 2 stacks, this is then 350%, and then 575 at 3 stacks. When it comes to super duration, this is 22% slower super drain per stack, which is 66% slower at times 3. So in other words, this extends our super by 3 times the original duration. Simple exotic, but very, very strong. Looking at the mods we have to make this even stronger, our goal is basically 0 downtime on abilities. Up first, to start things off, is just Seeking Wells. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this mod, but I figured since we already had all the Ionic Traces, we might as well have our Elemental Wells track too. So to actually generate some, we are using Explosive Well Maker. This should gen Solar Wells on grenade and grenade launcher kills with the build. I don't think Jolt counts as explosions, but either way, we will be making a bunch of these. And then we also have Elemental Ordnance for some Arc Wells on grenade kills too. To get more energy back, we are also using Bountiful Wells, which will just double the amount that we spawn in. And then finally, so that our Solar Wells end up helping us out more, we are also running Well of Ordnance. This just makes Solar Wells that we collect give increased grenade energy back. Just by throwing 1 single grenade, we're going to be able to spawn 4 Elemental Wells and also proc times 3 Conduction Tines so that we get huge chunks of energy back and our regen goes through the roof. I took this into the Legendary campaign just like I did with the Hunter build, and it felt wild. Definitely not as tanky without something like Spark of Resistance and the constant healing, but the ad clear and the blinding effects were great. Running this build with Salvager's Salvo or Forbearance allows us to constantly proc the blinding effect while simultaneously chain killing hordes of ads. And there really becomes no point in even having a primary anymore because our abilities are just way stronger and are always up. I even procced ×3 Conduction Tines one final time and popped super in this first room and was able to clear everything and still have a third of my super left over. This build is an ad clearing machine and there isn't too many other arc builds that are going to compete with what ×3 Storm Trance can do. I'm really liking Arc 3.0 because it just feels like every class has their own spot where they shine. Let me know your favorite class to play with the new subclass rework, and also let me know what builds you would like to see tomorrow or the next day. I'm going to be grinding builds out all week before the raid race, and then I'll do it all over again next week. Once again, drop by the Twitch if you guys want to hang out with me live, or the Discord to say what's up. Anyways, that's all for this video, guys. As always, have a good one. Peace.